All right, you guys. Well, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, you guys. Thank you very much. All right. Well, again, my name is Darshan. I'm going to be doing this little training. If you guys have any questions, feel free to interject at any point. I'm happy to stop and answer any questions. But what I would like to do is, I know that we're going to be doing a deep dive into Encompass and DU. This is more of a, where do we want to live in Encompass to have a solid 1003? Because I know that we're supposed to look over DUs and LPs, but I truly believe that if we have a solid 1003 taken, you're not going to have any issues with running, you're not going to have any issues running a DU or LP. So to get started, I've been getting a lot of emails. I think David Tran can agree. We've been getting a lot of emails of, hey, we started a file in the employee folder or in some other folder. Can you help me take out my file out of that folder? So to kind of get started, I know that there's multiple ways to start a loan, but in my opinion, the easiest and fastest way to start a loan is wherever you end up on your home screen. If you click pipeline under here, under the loan folders, if you click on all folders, so right here, you'll see, give me 1 second, this is grayed out, right? So if you unselect all of your folders, click on prospects only, it's going to give you the ability to click right here, which is a new loan. That's going to be your easiest and fastest way to start a loan. So when you click there, it's going to give you a new loan option. You select what type of loan you have. So for this, we'll go ahead and do a FHA loan. So automatically, it's going to open you in the prospects folder. So you're not going to have an issue of opening your file in a new folder or in the wrong folder. From there, honestly, I feel like this is all loan officers or anyone needs to live within is if you click on show in alphabetical order, show all, the first few right here. So your 1003 IRLA lender screen, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and your borrower summary origination. That's all that needs to be completed. If you can complete that thoroughly, you're going to have a solid 1003. So just jumping right into it. And again, please feel free to ask any questions as I'm going along. I'm happy to answer any questions. So to get started, 1003 IRLA lender screen. If you have a TBD file or if you already have a file, let's say this one's going to be a TBD, please always select TBD. Don't put in an address. Don't put in, I think they want this house, so let me put in this. Please always select TBD. That way you're not starting TRID, having to cancel a file and start it all over again, because I know it's a pain in the neck to have to do everything, upload all the documentation, and have to restart your file. If you do TBD, put in your zip code of wherever you're looking. That should be sufficient to get started. Number of units, and I'm sorry, this might seem super elementary, but I can't tell you how many times when people reach out to fix their DU because they can't get a DU to pass. It's super simple things. It's just sometimes we're in such a rush that we forget to do the simplest things. So here, number of units, depending on how many units you have. For this, we'll go ahead and select, we have a 1 unit. Estimated value, we'll put in 600,000. When you guys put in appraised value, we don't have an appraisal yet. So unless you're running LP, which LP requires you to put an appraised value, always just select your estimated value so you don't have any trouble. Under project type, if you're doing a single family residence, it's not in a PUD, it's going to be property not located in a project. Type of, is it going to be attached and detached? So if it's a single family residence, it's going to be a detached property. Property type is going to be a detached. Now this is important when you guys are running your DUs and LPs. If you guys don't have this selected properly, it's not going to give you the proper findings. So please be careful to choose the correct information here. Are you doing a purchase? Select the loan purpose here. From there, if you're doing a refinance, you see here when you select purchase, it's going to be grayed out. In the event that you do cash out refi, it's going to open this up for you. Please make sure you are completing this. It's very important that you put what type of refinance are you doing. If you're doing a cash out, what type of cash out are you doing? Are you consolidating debt? Is it a cash out limited? No cash out. What is this? Like, why are you doing this? Now, I know that it might not seem important, but when a underwriter looks at your file and you have that you're not paying off any debt, but you're doing debt consolidation, well, those two don't jive. If you're not paying things off, then just put that, it's a cash out other, or I'm doing home improvements. I'm going to take those monies from the cash out and I'm going to do improvement. Have everything make sense. What type of refinance you're doing. If you have this information, great. If not, no harm, no foul. You can complete that once you pull a property profile. But again, going back to it, for this example, we'll select it's a purchase. From there, it's very important. This will always be simple. So please make sure you guys select that. If you don't select that, your DU will not run. I've had multiple times when people reach out saying, hey, I can't get my DU to run. Well, you haven't selected this and it will not run without that. Here, manner in which title will be held. 9 times out of 10, we don't know, especially when it's a purchase, what type, how what am I trying to say? How this is going to be held. So I always do other, and I put TBD. It's easiest, and you've completed it. From there, you'll go ahead and put in here your purchase price, 600,000. 1,000 times, let's say 90%, 540,000. The reason I am doing this at 90% is because I want to show you where to put in your MI. So here, let's go ahead and put in, say it's going to be a 7% interest rate. We'll automatically calculate this for you. Your homeowner's insurance, you can put in your property taxes. Here, I know a lot of times we're putting in random numbers. If we don't know, let's keep it at 1 1/4. 1 1/4 is a safe bet unless, you already have a tax roll where it tells you have a metal roof or any other thing, then you can put that percentage. But instead of just putting a random number, I think the easiest and fastest way to make sure that you're safe is putting in 1 1/4, and that will automatically calculate here for you. Now, when it comes to mortgage insurance, once you pull a mortgage insurance quote, whether that be through MGIC, through National, through Essent, it's very important that you fill this part in correctly, because a lot of times you guys will have in here, it'll be 0.30, and that's all we put. Always keep in mind that it's always going to be 120 months. This is always going to be 0.20, and this is always going to be for 240. But on top of that, to make sure that your disclosures are set correctly, this will always cancel out at 78%. So please do make sure that you fill this in. Cancel that 78%. Now, once you press OK, it will automatically calculate that for you. Now, from there, you can select page 1.
I have a question, Darshan.
Yes, please.
Because it's an FHA loan, is there something in there that gives you what the current FHA standard mortgage insurance is?
It's a great question. So this, you are currently right. My apologies. Thank you very much for that, Mr. Lopez. I got my files mixed up. I was going as a conventional loan. Because I chose FHA, this is incorrect. This is only on a conventional loan. When you're doing FHA, make it simple for you and for everyone else. Click on Get MI, and it's going to automatically calculate this for you. Now, because we are doing 10% down, you will notice here it shows 0.50. Anything, if you do 96.5, it'll show 0.55. But because you are doing 90%, it will automatically choose this for you. For me, sometimes I don't want to use my brain, and I'd rather have the computer do it for me. Click on Get MI, and it's going to do everything for you. It'll put the 1.75 up here. It'll put the 0.55 here, and it'll take care of everything.
Hey, go ahead and change the LTV, because change the LTV to 95. It's actually 0.50 as well, but for the life of a loan, I believe. 0.55 would be anything higher than 95%. So change the LTV to 95 and then change it to 95.01 so they can see it.
So you're saying change it to what, Mr. Chauhan?
So go to the borrower origination, scroll down to where they're change that to 5%, and then go back and click the get MI button.
So now that we change this to 95%,
So it's still 0.50, but it's for the life of the loan. Anything below 95, it's for 132 months. So that's why the get MI is very useful, because it will calculate it for you. Now you see that it's 0.50, change it to 3.5 for an FHA, and you'll see that it changes that again. So FHA is based off of the LTV and the tiers for the MI.
we good, Mr. Tran?
Yep. I just wanted to show them the differences in the MI. So
No, which is
I can send you
perfect.
guys out a table for it, just as a quick reference. But at 3.5% down up to 95.01, you're going to be at 0.55 for the life of the loan. Anything between 95 to 90%, you will be at 0.50 for 132 months. Or sorry, for 100 or 360 months, and then 95 or below, you'll be at 0.50 for 132 months.
Awesome.
So the more down payment, the lower the MI, and the lower that the MI stays on.
Perfect. Here. So after you fill out your 1003 lender ERLA screen, you go to page 1 of your 1003, and you'll put in your information. It is very important that you thoroughly take this application. Are they a U.S. citizen? Are they it's very important to ask these questions because it will eventually come up, and it's best that you find out beforehand, because you don't want to be caught mid-escrow not knowing this information and having something that's going to kill your deal. So please ask these questions. Are they married? Now, on this particular situation, because we are doing an FHA loan, as you know, if you are married, and even if you're not going to have your spouse on the loan, you do have to have their credit ran. You have to have the non-borrowing spouse's credit ran. So please make sure you ask this question. Are they married or are they unmarried? Because if you don't, you may have a file that may die because you didn't ask this question. So always make sure you ask. Number of dependents. If you provide your tax returns, it will show your dependents. So make sure you ask. Hey, how many dependents do you have? You have 2 dependents? Perfect. What are their ages? 5 and 10. Phone number. A lot of times we are asking for disclosures and there's no email address. It's going to hold you guys up. Please make sure it's the correct email address. Here I've typed it in wrong. So, I mean, I should fix that, but nonetheless, please make sure it's correct. Reason being is your disclosures will not go out. Your clients will get it, and then they'll get frustrated because now they can't get the disclosures. They can't figure out why. It's because we have the wrong email address or we don't have an email address. So please be careful. Huge issue that we've been having, and I'm sure underwriting will go into this. Please ask this question. Where do you currently live? How long have you actually lived there? As you guys know, you have to have a full 2-year history. So if it's 1 year and 9 months, please get the additional information. It will come up and it's going to cause issues. So please make sure you put where you live and how long you've lived there. Also, if you have a driver's license and it doesn't match, put in a letter of explanation. Hey, this address is so-and-so. It's going to come up. Please do put it. So if I've lived here for 1 year and 9 months, I will need to put in, if I've lived here for 1 year and 9 months, I do need to put in my former to complete my 2-year history. What is my current mailing address? Were you in the military? Please fill this out. And then what's your preferred language? Number 2, where do you currently work? It's very important when we ask for a phone number, and I know that your LOAs and PAs will thank you when you do this. Put the correct phone number to your employer. A lot of times it might be a company that has multiple locations. Try to get the location where your employer, your borrower works, and please put a phone number for HR. A lot of times getting these DOEs have become like pulling teeth. So sometimes taking the extra step and just getting the right phone number to the HR department, it will save so much time, and your LOAs and PAs will thank you. Your position and title. Please ask your clients. I've seen a lot of times when we're writing unknown. I mean, if you're having a conversation with your clients, you should know what their position is. Their start date. This is going to be huge. I've been getting a lot of files that are coming in with incomplete 2-year history, and then we are kind of scrambling 2 weeks in trying to figure out, hey, did you have a gap in employment? Did you have a 2-year history? How are we going to make this file work? So please, please, please ask for a 2-year history. If you do need to add another employment, right here, show all VOE. You can select here on the plus. Is it for borrower, co-borrower? Is it current or prior? So if they have a prior history, you just click on it and it'll open a tab up here for you. And from there, you can complete this information for your second job. But please do take a 2-year work history. Now, say for example, your client has Social Security income, they have alimony, they have some kind of foster care that they're getting a pension. You would add it here. So say for example, my client, they get a pension. This is where you would add that information. You don't need to add it in one of these boxes here. You would add it here. There, box 3. Or sorry, page 3 of your 1003. Your borrower's assets. Is it your borrowers? Is it your co-borrowers? Or is it joint money? You would put it here. Checking, savings, money market, certificates of deposit, stocks, bonds, any of this would go here. Please do complete it so that way it matches. So if you have a Chase account, please type in Chase and the last 4 digits or the full account number and what you accurately have on your last bank statement that you've provided. From there, you can put in any other type of assets that you have, any of these. I don't see this very often, but again, if you have any of these, this is where you would put it. Now, say for example, your client currently owns a home. They're selling their current home and they're going to be getting proceeds from a sale of a property. This is where that would go. So you would go under other assets, under whoever the owner is of that asset, and it would be, where did you go? Proceeds from sale of a real estate, right? Now, a lot of times you guys will see that you need to order credit. There's multiple ways to do it. This is how I do it. This is what I find easiest. Page 3 of the 1003, you click on order credit. Sorry, my computer's thinking. Select MFI and it will populate eventually. Okay. Now, say for example, you have a loan officer or you ran your credit outside externally on MFI's website. The way that you import that in is you will go to request type, import from website, and you'll enter that reference number here. Once you have that reference number, that's all that needs to be done. Have your credentials in here, reference number, click finish, and it'll import in. Okay. Once you have that imported, select import liabilities. Once you do that, here it's going to say I have no liabilities, so I haven't ran credit. But once you do that, it will automatically import everything in. Please do not delete anything. Anything that has a balance will automatically populate in here. In order to see, here you can only see 5. Anything past 5 that you need to view, you would click on show all liabilities. Open this and you will see all the liabilities here. Here with your real estate owned, this is where you will put all of your real estate. If they own a free and clear property, if they have any other mortgages, this is where it would go. You would put in who owns the property, address, how is this used? Is it a primary residence? Is it going to stay primary? Is it going to turn into an investment? What is going to happen? Please select this properly. And then you'll click on link liability, and all of the liabilities here from the top right here will populate, and you can attach your liability to the mortgage that it is selected to.
Darshan, can you go over the property status section there for the
Say that again, sir?
the property status?
Property status. Yes, sir. So here, David's talking about right here. So I used to get this wrong all the time back in the day. Let me tell you what these all stand for. S is for sold, P is for pending sale, R is for rental, and H is for you currently own the home and will continue to own the home. I don't know what H stands for, but it stands for you are going to retain this property. H will be for you're holding onto it. R is for rental, pending sale, and sold. So it's important that you guys put that. So if you have investment property and it's staying in investment property, you'll keep this as rental. From there, this will give you a summary of everything that you have done. So your subject property here that you are doing, total loan amount, base loan amount. In this case, we have MIP, the primary residence, FHA, purchase, construction method. A lot of times we forget to fill this in. If it's a manufactured home, it'll be manufactured home. 9 times out of 10, if you have a home that is already built, it's going to be site built. From there, if you are receiving a gift, one thing that we didn't go over, my apologies. Say, for example, you're purchasing a home and you are getting a gift. Your gift does not go under your assets here. So you will not put in borrower. There's no spot here for a gift, but you wouldn't select something and put it. This is not where it goes. If you're receiving a gift, it will go on page 4 of your 1003. Here you will put who's receiving the gift, what type of gift it is. So it would be a gift of cash. Here it's very important to put if it's deposited or not deposited. Now, deposited means your donor has given you the funds, and you've actually. Hey guys, sorry about that. Okay, so it's very important that if you're getting a gift of cash, that we put the right deposited amount. So what I mean by that is that if you put deposited, that means that your donor has already given you the funds. You've already taken those funds and deposited it into your account. So whatever shows on page 3, let's say you put in $10,000, that $10,000 includes the gift that your donor gave you. But if that's not the case, the $10,000 is your own funds and you're getting another $10,000 from a donor, then you would put, no, I have not deposited those funds into my account, and those funds are coming from my relative in the amount of $10,000. Does that make sense? I'm going to say that because no one's saying anything, that does make sense. So anytime you put no, that means that you're getting additional money, whether that be wired directly at escrow or they're going to be depositing it into your account at a later time. If you put yes, that means it's already been deposited into your account, and whatever you have in your current account includes the gift that you've received. From there, you're going to complete this section here. Again, this is very important. I know a lot of loan officers take it for granted and put no on everything, but it is important that you ask these questions because things come up, our 1003s are incorrect, and it can put us in a bind. So here, will you be occupying your property as a primary residence? Being that this one is an FHA, I'm going to say yes, it is. If yes, have you had ownership in another property in the last 3 years? So it's really important that we see that in another property. So if you haven't owned another property, this is your first home, or you've already sold your home, and it's been more than 3 years, then you would select no. What type of property did you own? It doesn't matter because you selected no, so you don't need to complete this. In the event that you select yes, then you would put, did I own a primary residence and who did I own it with? If this is a purchase transaction, do you have any relationship with the seller? If it's a gift of equity, you would put yes. If it's just a normal sale, you would put no. Are you borrowing any of the money for the real estate transaction? Have you or will you be applying for a mortgage loan other than the property? Actually, let me just read it verbatim. Have you or will you be applying for a mortgage loan on another property, not the property secured by this loan, on or before closing of this transaction? This should be no. Have you or will you be applying for new credit? Hopefully, we're having a conversation with our clients. Hey, while we're doing the loan, please do not go out and try to get 10% off at Macy's. Do not open a new credit card. Will the property be subject to a lien that could take priority over the first mortgage? This always has to be no. Are you a cosigner or grantor on any debt or loan that is not disclosed? Should be no. Are you, are there any outstanding judgments against you? No. Are you currently delinquent on any federal debt? This is important if you're doing an FHA loan. It will come up if you are. So just make sure that you find this out, because if not, you will not be able to get an FHA loan. Are you party to a lawsuit, which can potentially have a personal financial liability? Hopefully that will be no. Have you conveyed title to any property in lieu of foreclosure in the last 7 years? Hopefully no. Within the last 5 years, have you completed a pre-foreclosure where the property was sold to a third-party lender, agreed to accept less than the outstanding balance? Again, we will find out, so please make sure we're asking this question. Have you had a property foreclosed on in the last 7 years? And then have you filed for bankruptcy? If yes, please select what type of bankruptcy. From there, we would just need to select.
Yeah, don't scroll down too far, Mr. Darshan. This part, I just want to take over real quick for you. The demographic information. I just want to point out, because recently I just dealt with Humda, and I noticed that a lot of 1003s are leaving this blank, not reporting this. Guys, unfortunately, we got to follow what the federal government requires of us, right? Humda reporting wants the ethnicity of our clients and everything like that. So you know how everybody used to mark the "I do not wish to furnish this information not provided." That's not a thing anymore. We should not be selecting those, because as you can see under these sections here, if you see that portion right there underneath the face-to-face interview, even when you're not doing a face-to-face interview, they're asking these questions. Was the ethnicity of the borrower collected on the basis of a visual observation or surname? They're asking us to mark what ethnicity, race, each and every one of these borrowers are. A lot of these 1003s coming over now, when we're trying to report these, are marking that "I do not wish to provide this information" or "information not provided." That is not a thing anymore. We need to make our best guess. So if it's a face-to-face interview, you will be saying whether you got their ethnicity from a visual basis, but because you were afraid to ask them, right? Or not. I would ask them, "Hey, what are you?" You don't have to mark the portion under where it says Hispanic or Latino, right? Most of our clients are Hispanic or Latino. You don't have to mark whether they're Mexican, Puerto Rican, Cuban, or anything like that. You don't have to. But they want to know if they are Hispanic or Latino. We need to fill out that information as much as possible, okay? I do not wish to provide information not provided comes up with a lot of errors. I spent 3 days fixing 1003s on reporting to correct this stuff. So I need you guys to please fill this out, okay? If you guys are doing a telephone interview, right, those 3 boxes where it says "was the ethnicity of borrower collected on a visual basis," you need to answer that for me, okay? Whether it was fax, email, or whatever. That's why we ask for forms of ID. We don't need the social, we don't need that, but we want something to try to dictate it, right? But it also says surname. That's your last name. We have to make our best guess on these if the client does not want to provide that information to us, right? So if somebody's last name is Sanchez, well, I don't want to tell you what I am. I need you guys to make your best guess. Are they Hispanic or Latino? Yes or no, right? So that information can no longer be said, "Hey, I don't want to provide it," because guess what? Fair lending stuff, are we lending to people that, are underserved? That this is the type of information that they want. Even though you have other options here, we cannot leave that blank anymore or say that the information was not provided. So I need you guys to do this to the best of your ability, because 3 days of me not doing other things so I can meet the reporting at the end of the year is very, very difficult. So please fill out this information as much as possible. You guys can review this and you guys can fill it out to the best of your ability. All of the funded files, my team's already been taught to complete this when we're funding it, but the 1003 should provide this information as well. So by the time it gets to Kurt and he's completing this for funding, it's already a little too late. The 1003 is going to be inaccurate. So I need you guys to please, please, please fill out this information to the best of your ability. I'm done with that part, Darshan. Thank you.
And that's basically your 1003. Now, before we jump into, and I'm not going to really go deep into DU, because if you complete this 1003 properly, you're not going to have any trouble. But on your 1003, do you guys have any questions? Please unmute yourself, and let's have a conversation, because maybe a question that you have, someone else on this phone call has as well. And maybe we can answer some questions for you guys. And David Tran and Christopher Lopez, if I missed anything that you guys think that is important, please speak up, so that way I can go over that as well.
Can you go to the borrower origination, summary origination tab? So if you guys want to try to make it a little simpler, the only thing that you guys can't access when you're trying to do your 1003 is going to be your assets and your properties and stuff like that, but you can fill out all the borrower's informations here, right? You see is their names, their socials, their contact information. Scroll down, Darshan. Their current address is available here, former address, right? Once you guys import the credit's going to show up under there. Keep going down. The subject property is there, so you guys can fill a lot of that information out on one screen instead of going through all those tabs. That's just one other way for you guys to fill it out, right? So basically page 2 and 3 and 4 will not be completely available there, but you can fill a lot of the information here. But scroll down for me. I'll keep going down further, Darshan.
I'm at the bottom, sir.
This is origination, right? Scroll up for me then. I think we might have missed the checkbox. I think it's right above the 1003 or their borrower's information. It might be at the very top. Yeah. So as you saw, Darshan inputted this application just for himself, right? Let's say it's just going to be Darshan. You see at the very top right there where it says borrower information, there's a button that says no co-applicant. Mark that. But you see here, it'll put them under the co-borrower, it'll fill out that there's no co-applicant for them. So it's so that way the system knows that there's no co-applicant. It's just additional stuff. It's just information in there, right? So clean information in, clean approval out, right? Clean information in, the more accurate your AUS is going to be, so no surprises come up.
I have a question.
Yes, please. And I'm sorry, could you give me your name, please, so I can.
This would be Manuel Gonzalez.
Hey, Mr. Manny, how are you, sir?
Doing great. Where is the best place for us to enter the seller credit?
Okay,
David,
I'm 2015 itemization. Scroll all the way down to the very bottom. So how everybody's used to doing the 1003s, things have changed, right? They've tried to increase the information that everything can be put. At the very bottom here, you see where it says total credits and it says the itemized credit button. Click that, Darshan.
I'm saying, they're gonna do the appraisal, no one's
Right, and then here you'll see here now under M2 that there is lender credits.
And he's gonna start.
Right, for specific stuff, non-specific seller credit is the one underneath. You don't want to do the lender credit.
Okay.
M3 is what you want to do. So if you have a $10,000 seller credit, you're going to want to put it there.
As far as I know, like
everything has been approved. Has everything been written?
the thing is that I don't know. Let me see.
And this is where it's going to pick up all of your seller credits. Any other questions,
It's a
guys?
great question, Manny.
All right, I'm going to say something here, and I'm glad that we've got the people on the phone that we've got on the phone. Look, guys, from someone who's closed loans, and I think I've said this in different meetings that we've had, the loan officers that are on this call, so not the support staff, but the loan officers on this call, I always ask you guys to take your time to fill out these 1003s. And the reason is, for argument's sake, is no one likes to do tedious work later in the file. Take the time in the beginning. Look, for argument's sake, you guys make what, $5,000 a file when it closes? I'm just using a number, round number, $5,000 a file. 2 hours. I want you to take 2 hours to fill out the application. Why? That's $2,500 an hour. If you take your time and ask the right questions, if you do this long enough, it'll be a conversation piece. I remember when I would take in the 1003s, I would ask silly questions like, to say, obviously you're not sitting here in front of me and I have to, for reporting purposes, we got to let the government know who we're doing loans. Hey, what would you consider yourself, or your national background, your race, all of those things, because I want them to know that I am taking the application. I'm trying to take a thorough application. And then all of a sudden, something that you might be talking about, especially, where they work, what's the employment, how long have they been there? Look, putting together a 2-year history is so important. And if you don't ask the right question, or you assume it's a 2-year history, and then we get a month into the file and we find out that there was a gap of employment and they changed employments, and it's because you didn't take the time, because you were rushed, because you didn't want your borrower to be put out of place. Build a rapport with your borrower. Start in the beginning. I want you guys to make $2,500 an hour because you took a 2-hour application completely from beginning to end, and you took good notes. So then that way, when it goes to the next person in this assembly line, they don't have to keep asking you questions about why something wasn't there because you didn't take the time to fill it out. Look, we're not asking you guys to reinvent the wheel. For those of us that have been in the business a long time, I want you to know there's nothing better than taking a complete 1003, because it makes your file go easier. If you don't ask the right questions up front, then you don't know how to put the file together and let your borrower know, hey, the reason why we're having our time to take care of a full application to make sure I get all the information from you is because if we have to put together a story, let's do it together. Don't lie to me and tell me what you think you want me to hear. Tell me the truth and let's work together to make your file work. That's what everyone does here in corporate. So I know I talk about this every time we talk about a 1003. Take 2 hours, complete it. Ask all the right questions. Make it a conversation piece. When you ask how many children and they tell you how many children they have, well, how old are they? Don't just move on. How old are they? 6, 7, 12? Are they playing sports? And it doesn't ask on the 1003 if they're playing sports, but make that a conversation. Oh my gosh, I played college basketball and, now my daughter's playing basketball too, and I think she really enjoys it. Have those conversations. Write those notes. Build a rapport. If you don't do that, someone else will. And when it comes time to talk about the hard things of their loan, hey, the LTV, the appraisal came in short, your FICO score is too low. The reason why you have a higher interest rate is because of these risk factors. If you've done a good job taking a full and complete 1003, it makes it easier. All right, I'm done. I will stop talking. Darshan, it's you.
All right, guys. So Anna asked a question. Darshan, can you go back to the 2015 itemization? Anna asked, why not use item L for the seller credit? So scroll back down to the seller credit section where we just inputted that, Darshan. So as you guys can see, letter L, where it says seller credits, in parentheses, it says seller paid fees. You see that it's the box to the right of it, it's grayed out. The only way you can access that is to gold lock it. I don't want you guys to gold lock anything. Basically, it's unlocking and physically forcing in those numbers. Because the actual reason for that box L, Darshan, scroll up to any sections in the 2015 up top to where the fees are, and just any one of them. You don't have to go all the way up. So you see, let's just use line 816. Okay. The 2 number boxes, or actually, we'll use the flood cert so you can see that there's a 1050 there, right? Just to the box of the right, on the right of that, that's empty right now, type in 10,000. Okay. So if we're ever utilizing seller credits directly towards fees, okay, some of you guys previously had files where we had to use seller credits so that way we can pass points and fees because your discount might be too high or something like that, and you guys had seller credits. Darshan, scroll down now. Since we put that 10,000 there, you'll see that box L now has a number. Because basically that's saying, hey, the $10,000 that you had, we're utilizing it directly towards a fee, okay? When you're applying it directly there, it does lower the borrower selling costs, but when the underwriter runs their AUS or you guys run your AUS, it will calculate to make sure that the contributions from the seller or a third party, the credits, are not exceeding what is allowed, right? So, Anna, do you see that once you put that $10,000 there, it's placing $10,000 in box L? So basically, if I left both of those there, and we ran the AUS on this file, you would see that there was $20,000 in seller credits applied. Now, to avoid that, some of you guys might actually review the CD when it goes out, and we have seller fees on there. Okay. There's a way, and I don't want you guys messing with fees, but I want to show it. Darshan, can you go back up to that box? If it truly is a fee that the seller is paying and it's not a credit, over to the right next to the 807, or to the left, Darshan, you see that little box with the arrow pointing to the top right? Go over to the fee, down, where it says flood cert, left. All the way left, keep going. Keep going to where it says 807, click that. Another box will pop up. There's something called a seller obligated fee. If you mark that, Darshan, at the very bottom left, mark that box. Now hit close, and if you scroll down, that $10,000 in box L will disappear now, okay? So some of you guys remember when the 2131 buy downs were a big thing for us, and we had to utilize the seller credits. We would not mark that box, so that way it would utilize part of the seller credit. But let's say the 2-1 buy down, scroll back up, Darshan, and change that 10,000 to 5,000 for me.
Where did I put that 10,000?
Go down. It's right there. Go down. Up.
There you are. Okay.
Oh no,
What did you
not
want
in
me to
there.
do, David?
On the outside. You can change it on the outside. So where it says 10,000 right there, change that to 5,000. Okay, now go back and uncheck that box. Not 55.
Getting excited here. 3. Okay.
And then go back to the box to the left, and we're gonna uncheck that seller obligated box, right? So scroll down. If let's say that was a 2-1 buy down fee, right? And our seller credit was 10,000. So you see that the box L is showing 5,000 right now. I would lower the other remaining seller credit. So go to where it says 10,000 and change that to 5,000. Okay. So combined, you see box L and box M now show a 5,000 and 5,000, which at the box N at the very bottom there, total credits, you see it says 10,000. When the underwriter is going to run their AUS, or you guys run your AUS, it'll show that there's a combined 10,000 that's being applied to this file. So basically I'm utilizing 5,000 for the, you know, in the future, if we had to use it for a discount, or you had the 2-1 buy down fee, we would deduct the difference and leave the remaining difference under the non-specific seller credit. Any other questions from anybody else?
One thing that I forgot to mention is, say for example, you have a daughter you want to add onto your loan. Where do you go to add another borrower? Well, go up here to manage borrowers, select add, and you can type in your second borrower. And then from there, up here, you can click on your drop down and hit save. You can go down to your second borrower. Sorry, my computer's a little slow today. But now you can go ahead and complete the second borrower, and you can now toggle back and forth between the two.
Oh, now that we're doing that,
that's
actually, so Dominic has a couple of times, I'm going to use Dominic specifically here, had 2 borrowers fill out 2 different apps on our app. Okay. So he has asked me, hey, can I possibly pull that file, that 1003 that they filled out, and combine them? So Darshan, can you go back into that, how you added that borrower there? So if you had 2 different clients completing 2 different apps and you guys wanted to merge it, right? Click the import button, Darshan, and basically click on number 3 for me, right? And then click source up top. You see that there's other options here. So if you had a 3.4, a Fannie Mae 3.2, or you see that other options where it says another loan file, right? So once you're importing those 2 apps, those 2 loans have 2 different loan numbers. So let's say you decided you wanted to make loan A the primary loan. You just need to know what loan B's loan number is. So click on that, another loan file, and then you're going to select it as a borrower or co-borrower. You see that option right there. So if you wanted to add it to, let's say, Darshan, right, then you can just put co-borrower. But if it was just as a borrower, right, you want to do it for 3, just hit leave borrower, hit next, and then it's going to bring up a section now where you just go and find your loan, right? So Darshan, we're just going to use this for go under where it says pipeline to just select prospect for me instead of my pipeline. And we're just going to use some random persons, do one of those TBDs, just select that and hit select. So give it a minute or two, it's going to now copy all the 1003 information over. It will not bring any documents that they uploaded, but it will bring their 1003 information over. And now you'll see that Guillermo is now a part of our 1003. So go ahead and hit close, and go to Guillermo, and you'll see all of Guillermo's information will be there. Okay, so in case you guys ever have multiple applications filled out separately, you guys can merge the files and you don't have to sit there and manually input it. Hopefully that helps.
And now I'm going to bounce around now as I think of things. As Mr. Lopez was saying, ask the questions. And a lot of times you may have questions with your clients that your processor or your PA might not know. And I know that it's not feasible to, always pick up the phone and call your team member. But what you can do, and I know Christopher's going to love this, and I know he may have gone over this multiple times, but under tools, you have a conversation log. Click on the add your name, and put your comments, Maria, and put whatever it may be. Hey, I have a 2-year history, but they had 3 jobs, and this is what happened, and this is how it happened. Put your comments there, because now when your processor or your LOA or your PA jumps into your file, they're going to review that conversation log and they can say, hey, Darshan, my loan officer, these are the comments he had for me. So this is a great place to put in comments. Anything you want to relay over to your team, this is a great place to go and add your notes.
I think I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry. It's beautiful. I love it.
Okay. I figured Mr. Lopez would love that, so I had to do that for him. Another thing I wanted to kind of go over is I wanted to give you guys a few numbers. So if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to give you guys a minute. If you can take something to write. Anytime you're doing an FHA file, David has made it so that way when you add a template, and if you're doing an FHA loan, it will automatically populate our FHA lender ID. But in the event that it doesn't populate, computers only like us sometimes. If you're doing an FHA loan, please ensure you go under FHA management, scroll to the bottom, select section of the act. It's going to be 203B. But from there, if you take a look here, it has our FHA lender ID. Without that, if you're running DU on an FHA loan, it will not run. So it's very important that you complete FHA management, 203B for section of the act, and put in our FHA lender ID. Next, I'm going to show you, if you guys don't have any other questions, I just want to give you a quick, and I want to show you one more thing. So do you guys have any other questions within Encompass?
Darshan, can you do me a favor real quick? So guys, sometimes we might select the wrong template, right? We might have started off as a conventional loan, and then you guys found out it does not work, and you want to switch it to FHA. And so the information's populated by using templates. So Darshan, at the very top, can you click where it says loan as the drop down at the very top?
Sorry. I'm sorry, where did you want me to click, sir?
Where at the very top where it says Encompass View Loan, can you click under where it says loan? Up one more, right there.
Here?
And then you see where it says apply loan template set. Click on that. If you need to change it from FHA or conventional to FHA, please do that and then select FHA so that all the proper information can be put in there. The only thing it won't do is your section of the act. The reason why it won't do your section of the act is because I can't tell whether you're doing a condominium, manufactured home, or a single family home. Right? So the section of the act you will have to continuously do yourself. So FHA management, where Darshan showed you, but switching between the templates, this is how you want to do it. I tried to input as much information based off each template as possible, so that way it can help you guys minimize the amount of inputs that you need to do, right? I can't do templates for the amount of borrowers that you guys do, right? Or anything like that, but I just wanted to make it as simple for you guys as possible. So the FHA template will fill in the FHA information that I can do, that we will know, like our lender ID and stuff like that. VA will do the same thing. USDA will do the same thing. If you have a DSCR, please use the DSCR template because it creates different sets of disclosures for us, right? When you're doing a DSCR loan, it's no longer using the updated TRID information. It's using the old 2010 information, which is going to be a good faith estimate and a truth in lending. So those are going to be, that's the only one that will be using those things. Sandbox loans within a file. Yes, Anna. So Darshan, do me a favor and click on your pipeline for me.
My pipeline?
Yeah. And then Anna, on any loan that you want to sandbox and play around with, you cannot run an AUS, but there, if you right click it, you'll see that there's a sandbox mode. So if you want to play around with the income, paying off debts without actually manipulating the real file, the live file, you can go into sandbox mode here and you can look at your ratios that way. The only thing is the sandbox mode will not run an AUS.
At what point in the file can we use the sandbox mode? Can that be only prior before approval? Can I do that after
You can use it
approval?
almost at any time. So, you know, basically the sandbox mode is like a read-only mode. Like if the processor is in it and you try to go into a file, it's going to put you in the read-only mode, right? In the read-only mode, whatever you do is not going to save to the file. So the sandbox mode is basically the same thing. The only thing that you cannot do in sandbox mode and read-only mode is basically run the services. Like if you wanted to run Maven, which none of you guys would normally do, but any of those third parties, like pulling NMI code and stuff like that, it won't be able to do that because that's not a live file. No, Anna, anything in sandbox mode will not be saved. All right, Darshan, sorry. I just wanted to answer those questions.
No, I love it. We're bouncing around, but I think we're getting a lot of things that we've needed to talked about. So from there, I'm going to go back to, for example, here, this is one that I just did. Do you want to save changes now? So in order to run AUS, you will click on Services, Request Underwriting. For DU, I know we call it DU, but we use DO here. So if you're clicking on DU, you're going to have an issue because it's not going to work. So please make sure you click on Fannie Mae DO. Submit. You will go to submit to DO for ePass. Now, in the event that I know a lot of times we forget our passwords, and then you guys will reach out to me to reset your password. Or, for example, you yourself have updated your password. Click here, go to Update DO Settings, and you can put in your information here, so that way you don't have to retype it every single time. Now, in the event that you're a newer loan officer, you're on this phone call, Fannie Mae will send you a user ID with all capital letters. I don't know why it does that, because if you do it all capital, your DU will not run. It'll say that you're inactive. So please make sure all of your letters, and this is an L, that first one is an L, it's all lowercase letters, or else it won't run. But once you do that, it's fairly straightforward. You'll put in your information, your password will auto-populate. If you don't know your password and you're like, hey, let me give it a shot to see if it works, put in your password and click Get Lenders. If it populates to say iCore Lending, that means your password is correct. If it doesn't populate, that means it's incorrect, and it will tell you your password is not correct. Now, on this section here, this is for our MFI master login. So this is not your personal MFI login. So in the event that you guys have this or it's blank, I know it looks like this. It does that for security purposes, but that is our password. Click on Submit, and it's going to go ahead and run. Sorry, I'm going to have to let this run because I can't cancel it, but I also want to show you with LP.
Next, Maria's asking a question about running loan scenarios for the same borrower. Do you mean like a comparison between rates and payments, Maria?
There was a section when I learned Encompass where you go into the menu and you can do different loan scenarios without updating anything on your current loan, because the borrowers are looking at different loan programs, different ones, and you want to give quotes on all of them. And I was able to do that.
Yeah.
Without changing the primary.
So unfortunately, when you're running different scenarios, I'll have Darshan show you guys in just a second. I'll help navigate him through it. You will have to change information because there's only a copy button for the loan types, but we'll show you that in just a second, okay?
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So for Fannie Mae, when you guys go to choose LP, we get a few different ones. Normally, I would tell you to do the first one and the first one here, but I've noticed that depending on your Encompass, sometimes it'll show in different orders. So please select on the Freddie Mac's Loan Product Advisory System to System. Click on Submit. Now for LP, if you guys are wondering, for those of you that are wondering, we have one generic login for the whole company. So please do not touch any of this up here. Now, in order for LP to run, you do need to click on your reference number, double click it, it's going to highlight, and remove that dash. If you don't remove the dash, you will get an error, it will not run. And then outside of that, click on submit and you'll be golden. It will run your LP and you'll be perfectly fine. But just keep in mind that dash does need to come out. And then David, did you want me to go ahead and make you the co-host?
I'm already the co-host, but we'll just
Oh.
use this file since you're already in it. Just
Okay.
go under tools,
Go to tools.
underneath the tabs where it says form services. So to the left of services, Darshan, down, 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 down.
Oh, here.
Yes. And then click show in alphabetical order or alpha order. And then scroll down loan comparison. Okay. So basically right now, the information that you have inputted in here, you see that there's a button at the very top that says copy to S2, copy to S3. So that's copy to scenario 2 or scenario 3. So click on copy to scenario 3, hit OK. Right now, basically, if you want, this is just up front when you're trying to pre-qualify the borrower, right? You can run the 3 different scenarios. You'll want to now go ahead and change the loan type, Darshan, to FHA, and then your purchase price is there. Click where it says max loan amount, I think, as the button for me. Down, the little sheet of paper with the pencil, like that. Okay, so that's not it. Because the unfortunate thing is when we're doing this, you have the same down payment, right? Now go back to unfortunately, go to your forms. Go to your, lender 1003. Oh, the lender 1003. Scroll down to the loan amount section. So I know, Darshan, you like going to the monthly one, but scroll up. Right underneath the loan amount, you see where it says MIP/FF. If you click that sheet of paper with the pencil right there, it'll take you to the same MI screen. If you click the Get MI button right now, hit OK. Go back to tools again. Go back to your loan comparison, right? Then you can click copy to 3. But like if you wanted to do, and you were sticking with a conventional loan, Maria, and you wanted to do different down payment rates, right? You can change it and then just copy to different scenarios and it'll give them the different payments. So click that and copy to
Okay.
scenario 2.
It's called loan. It's
Loan
kind of
comparison.
tiny, the reading. Oh, okay.
Loan comparison. So it's under tools and loan comparison.
Thank you so much. I couldn't find it.
No
I
problem.
appreciate it. Thank you.
If you guys don't see it when you log in, please send me an email. Not a whole lot of loan officers have asked for this, so I don't know if this tool is actually unlocked for you guys. If you don't see it, Maria, please let me know and I will unlock it for you guys. Okay. So,
Thank you
like
so
if you're doing
much.
a conventional loan, you wanted to do a 3% down scenario, 5% down scenario, a 20% down scenario. You can do the 3 first, click copy to scenario 3, do the 5, copy to scenario 2, and then do your current one at 20%. And then if you click the print button, Darshan, click preview, you also have the print to PDF option, but the preview, hopefully it'll come up for him. This will give them the different comparisons, right? What your APR is, if you scroll down, Darshan.
Yes, this is perfect. That's what I was looking for. Thank you.
Okay. So yes, that is definitely a tool, okay?
Thank you.
Any other questions, guys? That was a very good question, Maria. Thank you for asking that.
Thank you.
David, you want to go over how to do MI, how to get an MI quote?
This is a conventional loan?
Mine is a conventional one, yes. This template is a conventional
I
one.
gotta try to remember it off the top of my head. Go to, I think it was tools. I know I sent something to Geneva and I don't remember because I don't do this very often. Sorry.
Give me 1 second, you guys. I do have it.
It's the TQL services, I think.
It's under, is it under servicing tab or was
Yes,
it
it's under
tools?
services. It's not
I
under
think
tools,
so.
it's under services.
No, I I actually think it is under tools, but it just says TQL services. So if you scroll down,
TQL services.
yeah, there you go.
So the cool thing about this, guys, and we're still trying to get the rest of the MI companies, they all have interfaces, but we're still trying to get that information from them to properly do the interfaces. Right there where you see the mortgage insurance service order, click that plus sign next to it, Darshan. No, you're in the right thing. Yep, click there. Now click compare rate quotes.
Hey, this one might not work because my borrower doesn't have.
No, because
MI.
your LTV is at 64%.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. My borrower won't have MI.
Yeah. So let's change the LTV, Darshan, and do a 5% down for it. So just go to the borrower summary origination, and then the down payment, just change that to 5%. Go back to TQL services, down. It's in alphabetical order, so TQL, yep. Compare rate quotes. And it could also be that we have it as FHA right now, but it did come up. So the cool thing is it's giving us change the product type to from FHA to conventional, Darshan. I think the loan type right now is showing. Now go back to TQL services. We're giving us $0 amounts. It's giving us the rates, but why is it not giving us dollar amounts?
I don't think it normally gives you the dollar amounts either, David. I think you just import it and then it goes
Okay.
there.
Let's
And
try
it'll
that,
automatically
Darshan.
do, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm
I
going
don't
to
think
take the
it-
lower of. So this one's a little bit lower. So I'm going to click on import fees.
And the cool thing about that too is after this, Darshan, open up the e folder and you'll see that it actually
Yeah.
pulls a copy of
It
the
should upload it.
quote. Now click the MI and it inputs all that information in there for you guys. The only thing it does not do is the cancel at 78%. But now open up the e folder. No, it should already have filed it away. Look under the MI, hit close on that. Oh, I'm going to show you guys something else too. Hit close on that, Darshan, and just go back to the regular folder. So if you guys are ever open up your e folder and you guys want to bring images up top, in the top left right there under where it says documents 75, Darshan, you see that little ATT to the left, go to the left, down and to the left.
Down
Yep,
to the
click on
left
that
here.
twice. It'll bring anything that has an image tied to the bucket up. So then you look at the one that unfortunately doesn't give us a time and we ran it multiple times. But close that out. Just do the top one for the mortgage insurance. But in any of those quotes, it'll pull it through. So I think you're right, Geneva. I don't think it'll spit out the dollar amount, just the rates for us, right? Because the quote comes back with a dollar amount. But that's MGIC. Click on the one below that, Darshan. And I think it also pulls up the ESSENT too, or National MI, right? So instead of going to the website, guys, this was actually a good suggestion on showing you guys. This is how you guys can pull up the MI quotes without actually having to go there. But the quote will only be accurate if your 1003 is accurate.
And then that's all I can think of. But unless anyone has any questions or David or Mr. Lopez, if you have anything.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much then. Hopefully this was helpful and informative. I will make sure I try to get this processed and uploaded to our YouTube channel as quickly as possible. Of course, Zoom's going to take a little while to process this, so it may be tomorrow when I try to get this uploaded for you guys. Okay, so remember that you guys can reference this on our YouTube channel if you guys need to go back to this. Thank you, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you, all of you.